YouTube, welcome back to another video. I'm your host today, Callum, and I know at the minute we're only doing deck profiles. That's just mainly because me and Jason are busy with work and other things that we haven't had a chance to do a match, but we are scheduling one up. One involves this deck, and obviously once you know what this one is, you'll obviously guess who the matchup will be. So we're going to plan on doing that soon, but for now, let's focus on this deck profile. And it is none other than the new Stride deck set, Nightrose. Yeah, I'm a bit of a fan of Nightrose. So, with the release of Nightrose, had no doubt that we would be proxying this. So, let's get into it. So, Grade 3 Nightrose. Once per turn, Generation Breaker 2. Put 3 cards from the top of your deck into your drop zone. When your rear guard is put into the drop zone, you may pay the cost. If you do, you may call that card. So what this means is that because of the mechanic that Nightrose focuses around, which is a keyword for those who know Premium for not, basically like how Luwad has Ritual, Shiranui has Dominate, Chrono Jet has Time Leap, this has Hollow. And what it does is when you call a unit from the drop, you can choose to have that unit hollowed. If you do, at the end of the turn, the hollowed unit retires. So this what's procs Nightrose, but you can actually also proc this top skill on your opponent's turn as well. So let's say you're playing a Dragon Empire deck and they place a rear guard or they play a vanguard and they retire on your units. You can resolve the skill, and what it is it's the unit that's retired you get to call back. So keep that in mind. So her secondary skill is her what we call stride skill. Counterblast 1. When you stride during your turn, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 1 card from your drop, call it to Rio, and give it 2k. This is honestly worth doing all the time because it helps make a board. So, next up, the infamous Pirate Swordsman Columbard for the grade 2. So as you can see, it has the keyword of Hollow. So this unit gets to be called Hollow. And just clarify, Hollow is not restricted to Nightrose, so you can, in theory, use support cards that have the word keyword of Hollow in decks like Zorgar and Christianos, since they call from drop. Pardon me. So, Columbard. When this unit is read upon by a grade 3 unit with Nightrose in its card name, costs Soul Blast 1, look at top 7 cards of your deck. Choose 2 normal units without Sentinel. So basically just choose cards that doesn't have the Sentinel ability. Choose 1, add it to hand, and discard the, when it says discard the rest, it means discard the other card that you revealed. And when this unit attacks on the rear guard circle, if it is hollowed, it gets plus 5k into the end of that battle. So that's the grade 2. Next up is the grade 1, Parting Shade. Just the usual, when it's read upon by the grade 0, you get a Nightrose crest. And what does said crest do? Well, without further ado, so as usual, you can stride, but you can only ride. You cannot ride any grade 3 or grade card without Nightrose. And the original power of your grade 3s go from 11k to 13. So as you've seen on this form of Nightrose, it is only 11k. So it makes it 13k, smashing the same numbers as standard. And then during your turn, if you have grade 3 or grade vanguard Nightrose in its card name, all of your front row units get plus 5k into the plus 5k for each face-up card in your G zone. And then the bottom skill, when you discard 3 cards from the top of your deck due to your Vanguard's ability, i.e. Nightrose and Nightrose only, you may choose one of those cards and put it to the bottom of the deck. So what that means is, if you use Nightrose's skill to look at the top 3, and let's say your over trigger or heal is one among the top 3, you can basically just choose to put that to the bottom of the deck. So 1, it's deck filling, but you're not decking out. And lastly, the grade 0, Undying Departed Grenache. And that's it for the ride line. Moving on, we'll go into the strides first, because I always do everything by grade order. So let's start with the strides, starting with the 4 copies of Ghosty Great King Obadiah. So, Obadiah's skill. Once per turn on the Vanguard circle, cost, turn a card from your G-Zone face up, which can be either Obadiah or the other one, which is just basically the other G-Zone. But for Nightrose, how I'm playing it, I always flip Obadiah up because the other card is worth just constantly striding into. So, you look at the top 5 cards, choose up to one from among them, discard it, shuffle your deck, then choose up to one card from drop, call it to real. If you call a unit with a hollow ability, that unit gets plus 5k, which 9 times out of 10 you're going to choose a unit with a hollow ability, so you're making board with numbers. And the other stride is Mist Phantasm Pirate King Nightrose. So, stride skill. This got a grade 3 with Nightrose in its card name from hand. And stride. Oh, so I forgot to mention for the stride skills for Obadiah, you can either discard basically anything that equals the sum of grade 3 or greater, be it 3 grade 1s, grade 2 and grade 1, or a grade 3. Or if there's cards like how there's stride cut, what we call stride fighter cards, they're a grade 1 that have the skill of when placed from hand, if you're using them for the cost of stride, this is treated as a grade 3. So yeah, but for Nightrose, you have to discard a Nightrose. So what does she do? Generation Break 2, dead easy. Second stride, you'll be already there. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, cost +1, retire 2 rear guards, which for this is even better than the old one because instead of it being a column, you're just retiring 2. And you can basically make 5 attacks with this deck because of this stride. So choose up to 2 grade 2 or greater unit cards with different card names from your drop, call them to rear guard. Then if you have 10 more cards in your drop, this unit gets a critical until the end of the battle. If you have 15 more cards in your drop, all the called units get plus 10k. So by the time that I've gone into my second stride, which is Mist Phantasm Pirate King Nightrose, I have easily met the 15 card drop. Simply by guarding Nightrose's stride skill, not stride skill, the Generation Break 2 skill. So it's easy to hit 15, plus there are other support cards. So going into grade 3s, only running 2 extra copies of Nightrose just for searching fodder and to recycle for the stride skill Nightrose. I don't really need a play set. I mean, if I wanted to, I could drop it down. But having 2 in the deck is worthwhile, especially to use the stride skills to fetch them. Next up, I am running 2 Mighty Rogue Night Storms. Again, I don't need, it's too many grade 3s otherwise. So what he does is he has the hollow ability. Continuous rear guard, Generation Break 2. If this unit is hollowed, it gets 10k power, his standard grade 3 support. And then when it's discarded for the cost of stride, you draw 1. So it's your traditional grade 3 ditcher for stride decks. But like I say, I don't need it as many copies, considering if you had 4 Nightroses, 4 Night Storms, plus the 4 grade 1s to stride, you've got 8 cards you need for stride. And to be honest, you'd probably only be striding about 4 times max, if you're lucky. So having that many is too much. So moving on to grade 2s. 4 copies of Witch Doctor of Langa Negralazy for the retrain. So he also has hollow. And when this unit becomes hollowed, other than during your battle phase, so basically like a main phase skill, or in theory you can actually do this on the end phase. During your battle phase, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Nightrose and its card name, cost +1, choose a card from drop, call it real. So it's a good idea to use comboing that with Obadiah, call him out. It basically makes a column and helps you build your board. And then the secondary skill, Generation Break 1, which you're already at on your first stride. When this hollowed unit is retired from rear guard circle, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Nightrose, which you will, in its card name, and you have not counter charged this turn, counter charge 1. So it's worth having him literally on turn 1. It makes it so you're only using 2 CB, because obviously Nightrose is counterblast, cool. Negralazy's counterblast, cool. It basically makes it so you're down to like 1 to 2 CB depending on the turns you're having. It saves resources. Next up, we are running 3 Marauding Shade. And honestly, this is such a good card. I always hit this pretty early to ditch. So, what does he do? Hollow. When this unit becomes hollowed, if you have a Vampire Princess of Nightrose Crest, oh, try saying that 10 times in a row. This unit gets power plus 5k into the end of turn. If you have 10 or more cards in your drop, it gets 10k instead of 5k. Again, easy to do very quickly. Then, when this unit is put on Guardian Circle, if you have a Vampire Princess of Nightrose Crest, this unit gets plus 5k shield into the end of turn. If you have 10 or more cards in drop, it gets plus 10 and plus 5. So here's a little rundown on my first stride turn. So I always try and make it so I use like Nightrose to either call Negralazy or Marauding Shade, have them hollow, and then what would I just calls the other one out. And then at the end of turn, obviously because these are both hollowed, you can choose with units that are hollowed, you can choose in what order to activate effects. So I would do Negralazy first, retire, countercharge, do Marauding Shade, retire, then use Nightrose's skill to mill the top 3 cards to then call this back, because then you've got a 15k interceptor. So it helps you keeping a decent shield on the board. Then I am running 2 copies of Fertile Showers Dragon. So I've been looking for cards that work from drop and drop counts. So this card is when this unit is placed on rear guard, if your drop has 8 or more cards, it gets 10k power. So a lot of the time is if you brick with this deck, you brick very hard in terms of not being able to call stuff from drop. So having Fertile Showers Dragon is good because it just when it's placed on rear guard, doesn't matter if it's from hand, drop, whatever, it gets 10k if you have 10 or more in the drop, which is easy to do. Next up, I am running 1 copy of Devouring Arm of Crumbling Sea. So you're probably going to be thinking, why run something that's basically made for Zorga and in theory Griffagila? Is because I actually have cards in here, this deck, that can actually make this beneficial. So if you played a normal order this turn, it gets 5k power. If your rear guard was placed from drop this turn, 5k power, which the deck revolves around. And when this unit attacks, if it is the 4th battle this turn or more, it gets plus 5k. So in theory, if you meet all its requirements, it's a 25k attacker without even any extra bonuses. So, and for it to be the 4th attack, you're better off using it on the Mist Phantasm stride because you can easily meet the criteria. Next up, I am running 2 Nectar of Sensationalism. So obviously this is where I get the full benefit of this because of the orders. So, Nectar of Sensationalism. Choose one of your rear guards, and until the end of turn, it gets plus 5k for every 5 cards in your drop. And if you have 15 or more, the unit gets a crit, which is very nice because you're adding crit pressure on. I tend to normally get lucky enough when I go on a Nightrose stride. I call a unit, I choose it, and give it power, and plus it, I stack that on top of hollow skills, plus the G-Zone skills. I can hit a very high number before even swinging for Nightrose. So just giving that crit pressure is really nice. So moving on to grade 1s. I have 4 copies of good old Tommy the Ghosty Brothers. It wouldn't be Nightrose without these 2. So what do the brothers do? When continues from hand, while you are paying for the cost of stride, this may be regarded as a grade 3. So this is what I was referring to earlier about the grade 1s being what we call stride footers. And as you can see, none other than Nightrose standing in the background. So, act from hand. If you have a Vampire Princess of Nightrose Crest, discard this card, search your deck or drop for up to 1 grade 3 of Nightrose in its hand, reveal it, add it to hand if you search your deck shuffle. So in other words, this basically helps you fetch a Nightrose ready to set up for Mist. Next up, we are running 4 copies. Yep. 4 copies of Witch Doctor of Powdered Bone, Negrabone. And he, at the end of the battle, that this unit was placed from drop, this turn boosted. If you have a Nightrose Crest, retire it, draw, which is quite nice. And again, you can easily meet the requirements because there are cards that you can use to mill and call from play skills and that. So getting it called from drop is pretty easy. Next up, I am running 2 copies of Cam the Ghosty. So this is a new card for the Stride deck. It has hollow. When this unit is placed on rear guard from hand, if you have a Nightrose crest, look at top 5, choose one, ditch it, shuffle your deck. So basically early setup. And then rear guard during a turn, if this unit is hollowed, this unit gets plus 5k, a 13k booster, quite nice. But it needs to be called from drop from hollowed. So there are other supports, like for instance, this guy, Sunbathing Dragon. And considering this deck doesn't use any energy, really, other than the energy blast 7 to draw, having this in is actually quite beneficial. So when this unit boosts, if your drop has 10 or more cards, Counter Blast 1, Energy Blast 2, draw a card, and this unit gets plus 5k into the hat battle. So a nice 13k booster plus draw power is quite nice, and all it costs is a CB and energy. But then you combo with Negralazy for the counter charge, it basically becomes an Energy Blast 2. And then I am running In the Dim Darkness, the Frozen Resentment. So most of you know this because it's a Zorga special. Play this with a Soul Blast 1, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose a card from among them, discard it, and shuffle your deck. Choose a card from your drop with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, and call it to rear. So again, this is just help setting up the board, especially for hollow units if you're missing that one piece. Not literally a one piece, but yeah. Moving on, lastly, War Sprout Djinn for the perfect guards. It's an effect PG, so it's basically if you have one less card, you can basically play this without discarding anything. Moving on to the grade zeros, starting off, running 1 copy of Wild Intelligence. So as you can tell, this deck is slightly counter blast heavy, but I've not really found any issues with it. So what it does is play with a counter blast 1, discard the top 3 cards of your deck, saying like sort of Frozen Resentment. Choose up to 1 card with the same card grade as your Vanguard or lower than your drop, call it to real. And then if you have Magnolia, you get to call 2 instead of 1. So it's only just there for the mill free, choose 1, call it from drop, potential hollow. And that, next up are the triggers. Let's make sure I get all the triggers. I am running 7 crits because this deck can hit numbers, so you might as well hit damage while you're at it. And the special crit this deck. I pulled this from a single pack, guys. And this is the reprint in set 3. So, yeah. I like that crit. Single pack pulls are the best. Just saying. And then I'm running 4 Frenzied Heiress. So you're probably thinking, but why? Simply because it's a 20k shield. Yeah, I may not always have a front row board, but it's a 20k shield. It's guard. Then obviously 4 basic heals. And for the other trigger, some might judge me, some might understand my logic. But Spiritual King of Night Sky, Nyx Lazalia. So what this does is, its additional effect is choose up to 1 card from your damage zone, put it to hand, choose up to 1 unit card from your hand, call it to rear and give it 10k. So in other words, it's basically a free heal and a free call with 10k power, which is nice. I've only drive checked this once. But it's nice, especially if something like that hits your damage. You got to get it back. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. So as you can tell, since this was this late profile, Jason has Harry. So we will potentially be doing a Harry fight video. It's Harry v Nightrose, because it wouldn't be fun otherwise. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you soon. Bye.